welcome. How is everybody doing out there in the live chat? Um, Again, this week I'm sitting here by myself. Let's see what happens if we go over. So I'm going to check if I put the link for this over on Patreon. Just a second, because I'm not sure. Come on, pull up. My internet's kind of being slow and silly. Actually, I did not. So I'm going to throw it up on Patreon. If you want to come on, I apologize, but I'm putting it up right now. Basically, the title, first of all, on the YouTube video is wrong. It's not lesson 25, it's lesson 24. So lesson 24, okay, here you go. Please, if you're on Patreon and you want to get up with me and all this, then do. And there we go. It should be paid members only, publish. Should be on there if you want to come. All right. We are, like I said, going to be going over lesson 24. I'll update the title on YouTube when I get there. Sorry, Colton, I did put it on there just now. So you should be able to jump up with me if that's something you're planning on doing, and I appreciate it very much. Okay, so there's Colton right there.
Howdy.
Welcome. Howdy.
How are you?
We are going over lesson 24 this week, even though it says 25 on YouTube.
The thumbnail was right, just the title was wrong.
I know. I hate having to do all that stuff. All right, but we're going to handle this and tackle it just well, aren't we? There we go. Homework review, Chazaran Shulei Abayit, for lesson 24, which would be in Hebrew, Kaf Bet. For those who are interested, not Kaf Bet, Kaf Dalet. Kaf Dalet 24. So we're doing biblical Hebrew 101. What's that?
Arba Stream?
Isrim Arba.
Isrim Arba. Okay. I'll get it right. I'll get them
right. So today's the 9th of July. We're looking, or it's the 10th. My goodness. Today is the 10th of July. It's already the 11th in Israel. I missed the day because I had the day off and I was dealing with other things. But on Monday, we're going to be meeting for continuing David's story. We're already in 1 Samuel or 2 Samuel this week. 2 Samuel chapter 1. And we're going to be going over lesson 26 in Seow, which will be the Nifal. So we're going to start the passive voice, passive and reciprocal voices in Hebrew. And on Thursday, go over the homework for 25, which is labeled correctly on the link that I've already made for next week. So it will be right, unlike this one. And then on the 21st, we're going to continue with the Binyanim, Hitpael, Hishtafel, and also the oath formula in Hebrew from lesson 27 in Seow. The homework in this chapter, if you go to exercise 24 in the book, is ugly. Right, Colton? Isn't this ugly? Write the following forms in Hebrew. Okay, so we're doing the opposite of parsing. Parsing is they give you a Hebrew form and then they say break it down and tell us what binyan it is and what tense and the person number, gender, person, gender, number, whatever, and the root letters. So now we're doing the opposite.
They're giving you the parsed information and telling you to make the form.
Yes. So this could be difficult for people. What?
I said you're right. Nasty. That's nasty.
What's especially nasty is that there are how many? 30 of them?
Yeah.
I think we'll just do the ones we want to do because that's too many. And we've got some good reading today. The Hebrew reading is good stuff. All right, so this is PL.
It's a long reading today.
Yeah, this is PL imperfect, third masculine singular of baka, the root baka. So PL basically is going to use the root as it is, and normally with a negation in the middle. So let's think of that. Okay, so we want the imperfect. Imperfect is going to have one of the eitan letters. Aleph, Yod, Taf, and Nun. It's going to have one of these letters at the beginning, prefix. Okay, so it's third person. Third person is going to be Yod. Okay, masculine singular means we don't add anything else. The center of the word is Yevaka. The ayin colors the vowel as pa instead of a. In pause, you'll say yivakea, yivakea, in pause. I don't know if we covered strong enough that the future, the imperfect, the preformatives or the prefixes, preformatives, have, like we say, skinnem levi, and we say all of these beged kefet, all these words that we create to remember them. So this one we call eitan. Eitan is someone's name in
That's
Hebrew.
great.
Eitan.
I never have heard that, but I like it.
And it also is a word that means strong. Eitan. So Aleph is for the first person, I. Yod is for he, like who, and also him. Taf is for ata, at, atem, aten, and henna. And the nun is for anachnu, anachnu na'asi. So these letters together form the word Eitan. It makes it easy to remember. Okay, what do you got there?
Oh, okay. All right. So second feminine singular PL imperfect from Ubakash. We're gonna do tevakesh.
Okay, so second feminine singular is like, okay,
Yeah.
second feminine singular, what has a taf
Tevakashi.
prefix
Sorry,
and a
tevakashi.
yod suffix.
Yeah,
Okay,
my bad.
te, va, ke, shi. Okay, tevakashi. Will we always see the dagesh in this letter?
Um, I'm sure there's an
Is it
exception.
Skinnem Levy? I just mentioned Skinnem Levy.
Yeah. Oh, so no, we won't.
The K sound is the kuf.
Yeah.
Skinnem Levy is if it's followed by shva and has a dagesh inside of it, one of these letters, the sibilants, samech, sin, shin, and tzadi, kuf, nun, mem, lamed, vav, and yod. If they have the vocal shva after it, they will many times drop the strong dagesh. So you
It is
could
frequent,
see
but
tivakashi.
yeah, it is frequent, but it is inconsistent on the whole.
Yeah. If we checked like okay, so the singular he searches is always mivakesh, okay, with the dagesh.
Yeah.
But once you go and you add im, this sere reduces to shva. Mevakeshim, and then you will find instances with the dagesh and without the dagesh. So if we can actually show this real quick on the Bible. Okay, so let's just search for mevakshim. Okay, and we see here without dagesh, hamavakshim, and then here we see without dagesh. Here we see without dagesh, without dagesh, without dagesh, without dagesh, without, without, without. Do you think we're going to find one with? This is Lamentations 1:11, and it has the same exact form, mivakshim, and this one has the dagesh. So what does that mean? We should normally expect it to be without, but one time in the Bible it appears with. This means that sometimes Skinnem Levi is broken and you can ignore it. It's just it's an explanation, not a demand. Okay. All right. Let's just go through. Let's go through really quickly. PL infinitive construct of bakash is bakesh, levakesh. Infinitive construct, levakesh. I guess I'll write it. Levakesh. Infinitive construct. Levakesh. To seek, to look for. What is the next one?
PL imperative masculine singular of bakish is going to be bakish.
Bakesh. Bakesh. No problem. Okay. Whoever wants to go over all of these, you are welcome to write me a letter, an email, jason at thehebrewcafe.com, and I will write these all out for you because this is just, I think this is a waste of our time.
Yeah. It might be helpful to do 6 there.
Okay, 6. 6 says the PL infinitive construct of ma'an. So ma'an, the infinitive construct is like the imperative in the PL. It's ma'en. In the infinitive construct, it's easier to say if you say lamed in front of it. Le ma'en. It means to refuse. Le ma'en.
Yeah.
The dagesh does not appear in the aleph, and so the vowel in front of it is lengthened, compensatory lengthening. Is that enough? We'll skip out of
Yeah,
these things
that's
and
what I
go to
wanted.
the
I just
reading.
wanted the guttural to get the
Yeah.
to highlight the guttural there.
There are 30 of these beastly, evil, wicked things. Parsing itself is terrible, but reverse parsing is even grosser. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least they're the one like how do I say this? Um, the good thing, I mean, again, it's still like just parsing, but at least it's productive. Like it's a productive use of the language. You're actually forming L2, at least in a
True.
very like
Mhm.
broken way. But
Yeah.
it is at least production. That's what I can say about it. I'd rather do this than parse.
Yeah.
Um,
But if anybody wants these answers, I can do this in like 5 minutes, throw it together and send it to you. I just don't want to go over them all here because it's so ugly.
yeah, and it's a
It's
long
just
reading
ugly.
today, and it's a fun reading though.
Yeah. So let's just skip right to it. The reading is from Deuteronomy chapter 5, verses 1 through 33. Deuteronomy 5 is the second repetition of the Ten Commandments in the Hebrew Bible. The first chapter that lays them all out is Exodus chapter 20. For whoever's looking, you can see that there are all kinds of spaces in the text. Okay. I try to, when I put the text together to present it, I try to make sure those spaces are present because they are part of the tradition of how the text is to be copied. So if you look on Machon Mamre, each one of these little spaces in the middle of a column is written as a samech, the letter samech. Samech means parasha stuma, stuma that is closed up on both sides. It's blocked in, but there is space in the middle of the column. That's a part of the tradition, just like the vowels and the te'amim. All right. I'm thinking about changing the format of how I'm doing this because, first of all, we're first first year Hebrew that we're working on right now. So I'll show you what I did for the reading for this coming Monday, where I changed up the format a bit, and I think it will help with what we're doing here. And I think I'm going to do that for the following weeks. So look, this is basically what I'm doing is I'm going to put the text in a separate color for the verse that we're reading
Oh,
um,
I love it.
to allow us to let it stand out. So when you change verses to the next verse, the color will move to the next verse also.
I love it. Oh, and
So I think
thank
that
you
will
for
help
using.
with keeping
Yeah,
your eye on things.
thank you for
What's that?
using a. Thank you for using blue, lilac-y, purpley color that I can see as well. I appreciate that.
Yay! Yes, you're welcome. Okay, but in the meantime, the text looks like this. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
So verse 1, I guess if we demarcate it, it goes down to here. So verse 1, Vaikra Moshe el kol Yisrael Vayomer Alehem. Okay, this is the introduction to the chapter. Moses is the subject, called, the root is kara. It's the vaiktol of the kal kara, means he called. He called to them, El Kol Yisrael, he called to all of Israel, which means he summoned them. When he called to them, he summoned them to himself. He gathered them together. Vayomer, this is Amar, he said to them, he said to them, Shema Yisrael. Okay, once you hear those words, you might think that we're going to start the Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu
It's
Adonai
the next
Echad.
chapter.
Yeah, it's chapter 6 of Deuteronomy. This he's saying, listen. Listen or hear what I'm going to tell you, okay? Shema Yisrael, okay? Et HaChukim. Hear the statutes. The word chukim is often used in construction together with mishpatim, statutes and laws, laws and judgments, something like this. So hear Israel, listen, hear the laws and the judgments, mishpatim, it's from shafat, to judge. Asher Anochi Dover, notice Dover here is in the Kal. It's a Kal participle. Normally, speak is in the PL, Medaber, Anochi Medaber. But sometimes it appears in the Kal, especially with the word Emet. Emet means truth. Dover Emet is someone who speaks the truth, a truth speaker. Dover Emet. And also, dover can be turned into a substantive from the participle, meaning a speaker or a spokesperson, someone who speaks for someone else. So, hear the laws and the judgments which I am speaking in your ears. Ears. Oznaim is the dual form, ears, and the construct ozne, oznechem, your ears, which I'm speaking in your ears, hayom, hayom, the day, meaning today. Okay, so again, backing up, we're going to take it as slow as we can. We want to devote more time to the reading than to all that grammar scariness that we spent too much time on last week. So here, the laws and the judgments which I'm speaking in your ears today. Okay, so this is an imperative, Shema, and it's singular because Yisrael is singular, but it's really referring actually to the whole community of Israel, so it should be a plural. And so what happens in the next word, ulematem, ulematem, this is plural with the same subject, Israel. Israel is still atem. Okay, it's still you, plural. Limadem, and you shall learn them. It takes that same imperative force and brings it here. Hear the laws and learn them. Ulematem otam, and learn them. So this is a vekatal. Vekatal, Jonathan would call it an irreal perfect. It's a perfect with the vav that normally switches the tense, is what the traditionalists say. So it's an irreal perfect, meaning it's used as an imperative. Okay? Ulemadem otam, and learn them. Ushmartem la'asot. Okay, ushmartem la'asot, literally, and keep, to do them, la'asotam. Ushmartem la'asotam. The tam, the am on the end means them, just like otam. So, and keep to do them. What does it mean? Keep to do them. It means do them or perform them carefully. The lishmor, this verb shamar, when it's joined with another verb in the infinitive, means to do whatever this is carefully. The shamar means careful. Do you agree with that, Colton? You
Yeah.
had a term for something like that where the main verb loses its initial force, its real
Yeah,
force.
I'm not sure. Well, yeah. So those are called light verbs, right?
Light verbs.
It loses its full semantic weight
Yeah.
in
So
slide.
it doesn't really mean keep something. It changes into an adverb
Yeah,
and loses its weight, like you
yeah.
said.
I
So
I do.
the focus is on the verb performing, doing them.
Yeah,
And the lishmo takes on the sense of doing it carefully or
yeah. I
with
like to think of it
attention.
as like when you when you keep something, or this could also be used for like guard, when that's the kind of keeping we're talking about. You're tending to the thing, right? You're when you're guarding somebody or something, you're paying careful attention to it to make sure nobody takes it or hurts it, right?
Yeah.
Without it doesn't escape if it's a prisoner, right? And
So
so
you're saying guard doing it.
yeah,
Guard
but like
doing
just tend to it, like do them by tending to it, like it's a very like careful. I mean, like it's not just like a one and done kind of thing. It's almost like this really like focused kind of thing, because you have to focus on what you're guarding, right? There's a purpose for it. Be
it.
purposeful
Absolutely.
as you do them. Yeah,
Absolutely.
cool. You want me to take two?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And
All
try to
right.
go slow, and I'll try to write where
All
you're
right.
reading.
Sure. Adonai Eloheinu karat imanu brit bechorev. Bechorev. Sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Adonai Elohim is this the tetragrammaton here, the name of the Lord our God. So it's Elohe, and anachnu on the end, but as the possessive pronoun. Karatimanu, he has.
Why did we leave the vowels off of Adonai? I'm gonna start doing that also in the production
I
today.
feel like that's a question for you.
Because the vowels don't belong to the name. It's a
Right.
reminder that the name is read on its own as if it were Adonai with Aleph,
Yep.
Dalet, Nun, and Yud. Right?
Yeah.
So we'll just leave the vowels off to remind you that we don't actually use the vowels of the name.
And then Karat Imanu. So he has literally cut with us Berit, a covenant. Um,
Mhm.
in
What do you call it whenever somebody circumcises their son in Judaism?
Bris, is that how you say it?
Bris.
Bris.
Bris. Bris.
Okay.
Bris is the Yiddish way of saying Brit.
Yeah.
Brit. Brit.
Yeah.
The in Yiddish, the taf with no dagesh is read as an S.
I see.
Mhm.
Yeah. Bris. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then so Brit Bechorev. Sorry,
And what
Bechorev.
is Chorev?
It is the name of the mountain of
Which
Sinai.
mountain? Sinai. Sinai and Chorev is the same thing.
Yeah.
The use of the word Chorev for Mount Sinai is one of the things that comes up a lot in source criticism.
Yep.
Because you find passages that refer to God as Adonai
Hmm.
and passages that refer to God as Elohim without Adonai. You have passages that refer to the mountain where the Torah was given as Sinai, and you have passages that refer to it as Horeb. You have passages that refer to Moses' father as Reuel, and you have passages that refer to his father, his not his father, his father-in-law, as
Yitro. Yitro.
Yitro.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got, and there are not just this. There are other things that line up between these passages, and so they labeled them as belonging to different textual sources. And so one of those things, just something to keep your eyes open. When you see Chorev or when you see Sinai, Jerusalem is called Yeshurun. It's called Zion. Uh, the cities. It's just something to keep your eyes open to.
Hmm.
And there are books that you can consult about those things if you're interested.
Yeah.
So Chorev and Sinai.
There's a in this book that I'm reading right now. He mentions
Mhm.
Yeshurun, and like there's a whole. He has somebody's put like a whole article or book or something together about that use of the word. If
Mhm.
Yeshurun is a way to refer to Israel. Um, but yeah, that's all.
Just by way of saying hello, Michael's been here from the beginning of the hour. My mom's been here, and Karen just joined us. So, welcome, guys. We're happy to see you. We are now on verse 3. Karen, basically, we skipped over a lot of the we're going to call it reverse parsing, the creating forms based on like parsing labels. And we're just going to focus today on the reading, which is Deuteronomy chapter 5. This is from the Ten Commandments. This is the lead up to the Ten Commandments.
Mhm. If
Okay, so
you,
verse 3.
but
Mhm.
Jason said if you want the answers for the homework, he said just message him and he can do it for you. I can do it for you too if you want me to. Whoever.
So verse 3 says, Lo et avotenu. Okay, so this is interesting. Lo is the negation. Normally, we would expect it to negate the verb. Lo karat. The verb is here. Lo karat Adonai et habrit hazot. The Lord did not make this covenant. But what we're having the lo negate is this word avotenu, our fathers, not with our fathers. Okay, so that's the negated phrase, and it's moved to first position, and the verb is in second position. The verb likes to be in second position. Lo et avotenu, not with our fathers, karat Adonai et habrit hazot.
Mm,
Lo et avotenu karat Adonai et habrit hazot. The Lord did not make, or Adonai did not make this covenant with our fathers. Okay, ki, when you have lo, then ki means but. It's like ki'im, but rather. לא את אבותינו כרת אדוני את הברית הזאת, כי איתנו אנחנו אלה פה היום כולנו חיים. Okay, that's a big repetition for stress. He's stressing something here.
yeah.
He's saying God didn't make the covenant with our fathers, but rather with us. Us, these here today, all of us alive. Okay, so he's saying, he's really stressing. Remember, in Deuteronomy, we are at the point where they're about to enter into the promised land. And this is a repetition of the major principles in the Torah, which is why we're getting the entire Ten Commandments a second time. So they're about to enter the promised land, and the people who died in the desert have all died. This is the next generation. So the next generation, as they're about to be led into the land, Moses is telling them, God did not make this covenant with our fathers, even though they were the ones at the mountain, but with us. It's a living covenant with us, their descendants. Okay? And the way that he stresses that, he says, not with them, but with us. Anachnu, these here today, all of us, kulanu, kayim, okay? All of us who are living today. That's a really drawn out emphasis saying that this covenant is ours. And he is saying it's not something of the past, it's something of the present,
Yeah.
made with those who are descendants of the ones who inherited it initially. Okay? Brilliant, beautiful passage, by the way. According to Jewish tradition, if anybody's interested, this with us, those who are here today, all of us alive, refers not only to the Jews who were about to enter in, the ones who received at Sinai and were about to enter into the land also, but it refers also to those who were spiritually there. Everyone who has a Jewish soul was there and receiving the covenant on the same day. And so even people who convert to Judaism are said to have a part of that Jewish soul that was brought into their body
Hey,
and drew them to Torah.
okay. Quick aside, since you brought up
Yeah, that's
Jewish,
sociological, yes.
Jewish, just commentary.
Mhm.
What? So the rabot or the rabba, those are what are those? Like, I'm assuming it's a category of something or some specific kind of commentary. Like, does it belong to a specific group? Or is it
I
like a
assume you mean like Bereshit Rabbah.
yeah.
It's called the Midrash Rabbah.
Okay.
Midrash Rabbah is it's a set of
Okay, that's
Midrashic commentaries.
Okay, so it's
The two largest collections of
okay.
midrash
So
are
it
Midrash Rabbah and Midrash Tanhuma.
okay. So is Rabbah just is it like the great? Is that like the idea behind it? Is just the great
Yeah.
comment, the great
hmm
midrash? Okay,
hmm
I just okay, but it's a it comes from uh it's just a particular collection.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a collection.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
Because there's midrash that's spread all throughout, like the Talmud, the Gemara
right.
has a lot of midrash in it,
Mm-hmm.
but these are specific collections of midrash
Okay.
that you can just sit down and open it and read. I have a
Got it.
copy. I might still have a copy of Tanhuma. But when I used to keep Shabbat, like this is one thing that I would do. I would read midrash on Shabbat.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause,
Okie dokie.
anyway, we're in verse 4.
All right. Panim befanim.
Mhm.
Diber Adonai imachem bahar mitoch haesh.
Mm.
All right, so panim bepanim, panim befanim. So face in face, or what we'd say face to face.
Mhm.
Notice that that's focused here. Um,
Yep.
the Lord spoke with you all.
Where's the verb? What position is the verb in?
It's in second position.
Second position. Panim befanim diber. That's the second
Mhm.
position. Good.
Yeah, the Lord spoke with you all in the
Imachem.
mountain. Yeah, from the midst of the fire.
hmm Isn't it normally like the people who wandered in the desert after the giving of the Torah died?
Yeah, I was wondering when you were going to pick up when you were going to pick up on that. It wasn't actually
Mhm.
them that were there, right? I mean, unless we're saying that they were wee children or something, you know.
But
But
again, it could refer to the whole idea, the concept that
yeah,
we were there, our souls were
yeah,
there.
yeah. I
So,
think that's probably this particular passage. It's
mhm.
probably where they pull. If I was
What led to
guessing,
that interpretation?
is probably where they come to that because they weren't there. You know, they were the descendants
Mhm.
of them. You know, and that's what.
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm in Deuteronomy in my like personal reading. I'm in Deuteronomy 33 right now, and
Mhm.
so I'm getting to the tail end of the book, and so I'm inundated with with the Deuteronomists. You know,
Yeah,
thinking.
I had a group that we went through all of Deuteronomy together.
Yeah,
It's
but my thing,
it's a
I'm just
fantastic
thinking
book.
like. You know, it's very much in like what Moses is telling them is like it isn't just like a lot of what he's saying is like it isn't just for you. This is something that's going to go throughout the generations, right? You know, that's why
Mhm.
after you know, so like to see that in the first generation of descendants, see that as like you own it. Each individual generation is supposed to own it, right? And so
This comes out very clearly in the Passover.
yeah,
It
but
says
yeah, I
each generation needs to tell the story as if he were there.
yeah, yeah, and so it's just very much in that line of thinking. It's just
Yeah.
I
And
just
the next verse continues it. The
yeah.
next verse, verse 5, continues it. Anuchi Omed. Okay, so Moses is standing right now on the mountain, like about to go into the promised land. And he says, Anuchi Omed, I am standing. So he's still picturing himself standing on the mountain. Anuchi Omed ben Adonai uvenechem ba'etahi. Ba'etahi would refer to the past, right? I was standing, but I think he's still drawing that connection. It was happening and it's still happening. Like at that time, it's now. Like it's interesting. I think that this chapter really leads into that. That everyone needs to take upon himself all
Yeah,
hashamayim, the burden of heaven,
yeah, yeah.
the
Because
burden of the commandment.
he doesn't pass it on until the end of the book. You know,
Mhm. Yeah.
he doesn't. You know, we Joshua gets chosen in like chapter 30 or something. Like we don't get any news of Joshua until then. Only then is it like a move on. But yeah,
Yeah. So he says, Anochi omed ben Adonai uvenechem, between the Lord and between you, I'm standing. Ba'etahi, at that time, lehagid lachem, to tell you, to announce to you, et devar Adonai, the word of God. Okay, so I'm standing between you and God, you and Adonai, at that time, to tell you the word of Adonai, ki, because here there was a lo and ki, that means not this, but this. Here there is no lo, it's just ki, that means because. Ki yiretem, you were afraid. Yiretem, from yare. Yiretem mipnei ha'esh. You were afraid of the fire. Okay, because there was a big fire on top of the mountain. You were afraid of the fire. Velo alitem bahar. And you didn't go up on the mountain. Okay, you were afraid of the fire and didn't go up on the mountain. Lemor. Uh, Lemor here is interesting because it means saying, and it's introducing the quotation, which is the beginning of the Ten Commandments right there in verse 6. But what it means is there's something before this. Vayikra Moshe el Yisrael vayomer alehem. He said all of this. Okay. Velo alitem al har, lo alitem bahar lemor. Okay, let's
It's
look at it. This
almost
is the
like,
structure.
yeah, it's almost like,
Anochi, let's see. He says, I'm standing between you, blah, 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 to tell you the word of the Lord, which says, the word of the Lord is the thing that says this. You agree?
yeah.
And the whole key section is parenthetical because you were
Mhm.
afraid.
Yeah. Yeah, he's saying,
Okay?
I'm standing between you because you were too chicken to receive the word yourself. You know,
Mhm.
because the whole people were
And
called up
say,
there.
and this, and so
Yeah.
this is the quote of the Ten Commandments, starting in verse
Yeah.
6.
Yeah. Anochi Adonai Elohecha asher hotzeticha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibeit avadim.
Okay, you can see, let's look at this. This is funny. Anochi, it's got this, the pashta, munach, katon, okay, darga, tvir, mercha, tipcha, and then you've got mercha and tipcha together, and you've got et nachta and sof pasuk together. Et nachta is supposed to mark the division of a verse, and sof pasuk is supposed to mark the end of a verse.
Oh,
What we
that's
have
good.
here, starting with this word right there, until the end of the passage, is a double mark of the trope, the cantillation.
Mm-hmm.
It's generally called the upper trope and the lower trope.
Mm-hmm.
Because at different times of the year you read the passage with different melodic melodies, and it even breaks the verses differently. So we're going to use the one that's marked with et nachta here, the little line, not the wishbone, because we're dividing according to the sof pasuk with the little colon. Okay. All right. So ignore all the problem of these double accent marks.
It's okay. I did
It's just
anyway.
part of yeah, it's just part of
Yeah.
tradition.
Okay. Translate it. Sorry. So I am the Lord your God who brought you.
Hmm.
I brought you, alright, from the land of Egypt, from the house of slaves.
And so I brought you out because Yatsa is got the idea of
Yeah.
out. I
Sorry.
brought
Yeah.
you
Brought you
out
out. Hmm.
of the land of Egypt, out of the slave house. Slave house. It's a house where slaves lived. Slave house. Good. I am the Lord your God, not who brought you, but who I brought you. Like you said, very interesting structure in Hebrew that we don't do in English.
Huh.
Okay?
Could this be one of those times where a share is like operating as a key, maybe?
No.
Okay.
It's an identification. I am the Lord your God, the one who did this.
Yeah. No, right. I'm with you. That's the way that I most naturally read it. But
Mhm.
I could see like I'm the Lord your God. I'm the Lord your God. That for I brought
I,
you
the
from.
Lord, am your God because I brought you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like me bringing you out makes me your God.
Mhm.
Remember
Or
that there's
yeah,
the passage in Isaiah says that people will no longer say, the Lord our God who brought us out of Egypt, but the Lord our God who gathered us from the corners of the earth or something like
from
that.
the nations of earth,
Yeah.
Gwyn
Yeah.
Haaretz.
In the Jewish tradition, this verse 6 is the beginning of the Ten Commandments. So the first commandment in Hebrew is, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of the house of slaves. You will have no other gods before me. That is one commandment. It begins with, I am the Lord your God. In I guess that in English renditions, they don't consider I am the Lord your God blah, 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 as part of the commandment. They just
Yeah, yeah.
start with
It just starts with "You shall not have other gods before me." Yeah,
yeah.
and I should say in Protestants, I think that maybe Eastern Orthodox, Greek Orthodox might include it, or Catholics might include. I'm not sure. I'd say, but generally Protestants don't.
Mhm.
But I think they're. I think I've read something about this at one point or another. But yeah, you're
Neat.
correct.
Mhm. Anyway, verse 7 says, lo yelecha, you will not have. Okay? Elohim acherim. This is interesting. Al panai. Al panai. Ignore the reason you've got two vowels there. The kamat, the one under the nun, is the one that would be marked if we're reading with sof pasuk. And if we're not reading with sof pasuk, if we're reading with revi'i, which is the accent here, then the panai is not the end of the verse, so it's not lengthened, it's not in pause. So it's marked with both kamatz and patach. Um, don't read it as panaya. Panaya. Don't read it like that. Lo yiyelecha Elohim acherim al panai. Okay, so Elohim acherim means other gods. Other gods. You would expect the verb to be plural, to match. Lo yiyulecha Elohim acherim al panai. Okay? This is an interesting situation where Elohim, which we normally take as singular, is matched with a plural adjective and a singular verb. Okay? It's kind of odd. If it were spoken Hebrew, somebody speaking and not written, then this type of mistake would happen all the time because it's really common to use ye as like a common future of existence, like the future of Yesh, and not match it with whatever follows. But in written Hebrew, that's really not normally done. So there's a grammatical breakage here. Yiyeh with Elohim acherim. But you should understand it just means you will not have, lo yiyeh lecha, there will not be to you, Elohim acherim, which we could take as an object, but it's not really. It's really the subject of Yiyeh, other gods, upon my face. Al panai, upon my face, would mean in my presence or in front of me. Kind of like lef panai. Lef panai.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add?
No,
Okay. Verse 8.
lota su. Sorry, lota selecha pesel kotemuna asher bashemayim mima'al va'asher ba'aretz mitachat va'asher b'mayim mitachat la'aretz.
Mhm.
All right, lo ta'aseh lechapesel. You will not make for yourself an image. Uh,
Well, pesel is more the like the statue,
y-
like
okay,
an idol, a statue.
yeah, idol. Okay, that works. Yeah. Kol temuna asher bashamayim.
So this would
An
be in
image. Sorry,
construct.
Esa kol temuna. Yeah, I got you. Took me a second.
Mhm.
Um, an image of anything of all the earth.
So
An image of all the earth.
tmuna is like an image. It's
Yeah.
like we use it today for a picture. You take a picture, tmuna. So it's an
Uh-huh.
idol of any image.
Okay. Why did I think that was earth? What's the
Mhm.
word for
So
earth?
in Exodus chapter 20, instead of pesel kol tmuna, it says pesel ve kol tmuna,
Mm, okay.
an idol and any image, or an idol or any image.
What's the word for like earth or the world?
Tevel.
Oh, okay. My
Tevel.
bad. Yeah. Okay. Um, which is so any an idol of any image, um, which is in the heavens above mimal,
Mhm.
and or whatever is in the earth underneath,
Mhm.
and what is in the water underneath the earth.
Mhm. Yeah, so we've got this idea of heaven above, earth below, and then waters under the earth.
Hmm.
Mhm. Which is kind of
Awesome.
weird because normally they think of like Sheol, the grave,
Hmm.
as being under the earth. But when Jonah was in the belly of the whale, he complained that he had gone down to Sheol, into the deep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's also the same thing, the same categories in Revelation where they looked for somebody to open the scroll. They didn't find anybody in those three places.
Hmm.
Nice, nice little imagery. So again, reading Revelation right now too, so it's fresh
Ah,
on my mind.
in Greek,
Yep,
you should read it in Hebrew. It's better.
I might do both.
Okay, lo tishtachave, tishtachave. We're gonna cover
Woohoo!
in the next session. We're gonna do nifal, and then after that hitpael and hishtafel. This is hishtafel, the binyan. Lihishtachavot means to bow down. Lo tishtachave lahem, but it's to bow down, be prostrate on the ground. You shall not prostrate yourself to them. You don't lie down on the ground in front of them. Velo ta of dem. This is a open syllable, ta. This is a closed syllable with medial shva. Ta of dem. Lo ta of dem. Ki anochi Adonai Elohecha. So we've got this anochi Adonai Elohecha that we had up here, which makes me think that we shouldn't read this as a sentence. I am the Lord, or I, the Lord, am your God, because here again, I, the Lord, am your God. No. I, the Lord your God, am El Kana, a jealous God, El Kana, Kana, Kanai, Poked Avon Avot Albanim. So whatever guilt the father has, the guilt of the father, the iniquity of the father, I visit upon the sons. Ve'al Shileshim. So the sons are the next generation. Shileshim is the generation after that. Ve'al Ribeim, the next generation after that. So the sons, the grandsons, and the great grandsons. Leson I. Leson I. Sonim oti. Sonim, hating, oti. Sonai, those hating me. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of fathers upon sons, and upon grandsons, and upon great grandsons, to those who hate me. So the peoples that hate God receive the same iniquity passing from generation to generation. That's the idea. So he says, don't bow down to idols, and it's specifically in the context of idolatry, meaning that the fathers worship these gods and they teach their children to worship those gods, and then they teach their children, and it just keeps passing down through the generations. And idolatry is a generational sin, is the idea, generational iniquity. And when he says those who hate me, he means those who worship other gods. If you worship other gods, then you hate Adonai. That's the message, right? Make sense?
Yeah, sorry.
All right. We're moving down to verse 10.
All right, on 10. Woohoo. Whoa,
Um,
we're
so,
almost.
so what he just said, I visit iniquity upon them. So now
Mhm,
when we have the vav here, this is an adversive statement. Like it's, but I do
mhm.
this to them, but I do this to these other people. It's
Yeah,
different.
got you. ועושה חסד לאלפים, לאוהבי, sorry, לאוהבי ולשומרי מצוותי.
Mhm.
And, but, sorry, I did it. But I do chesed. I do lovingly. I am lovingly loyal to the thousands, to generations. Is
Maybe
usually,
1,000 generations. I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, generations is typically how that's understood. To the ones who love me, and to those who keep my commandments.
Yeah. Notice that the text itself has the word mitzvotav,
Mm,
his commandments, but we are told by the Masoretes to read it as mitzvotai, my
mm,
commandments. Brilliant.
mhm.
I think we're doing good.
Yeah.
The next commandment, lo tisa et shem Adonai Elohecha lashav, ki lo yenake Adonai et asher yisa et shmo lashav. Okay, lashav is the idea that you do it. First of all, what does it mean to take up God's name? To laset et shem Adonai, laset et shmo
It
means
means
that you
cussing. I'm just kidding.
no. It doesn't mean saying God dang it. It means that you make a promise and you tell someone, you say, by the name of God, or in the name of God, I will do this. Okay, and so you're making an oath, which you're also going to be covering with the heat by El forms,
Hmm.
and not next week, but the week after. You're making a promise. May the Lord do this to me
Hmm.
if I don't, if I don't establish my words, if I don't do what I promise I'm going to do. So if you take up God's name, but you don't intend to perform your oath, you're doing
Hmm.
it in vain.
Hmm.
You're trying to convince somebody of your intention, but you're bearing God's name as a lie.
Hmm.
So it says, "You shall not take up the name of the Lord your God for vanity, like for nothingness, because God will not hold innocent the one who takes His name for vanity."
Hmm.
Meaning, whoever makes false oaths in God's name will be found guilty before God. He will not be innocent. Okay, and lenakot. Lenakot normally means to be naki, to make something naki, to make it clean. But naki means both clean and innocent. So it can be to make something clean, like you clean the floor, lenakot, or it can be declare
Hmm.
someone innocent, naki.
Guiltless. Yeah. Guiltless. Yeah. Mm.
Mhm. Verse 12.
Yeah. Uh, Shamor et Yom HaShabbat lekadshо, כאשר ציווך Adonai Elohecha.
Notice that there's no sof pasuk. Why? Because in the way that we are reading it, This continues to the next part. The sof
Mm.
pasuk is here.
Do you want
So
me to
if
go
you
ahead and
want to
read it?
read that, yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead and read.
ששת ימים תעבוד ועשית כל מלאכתך.
ששת ימים תעבוד ועשית כל מלאכתך. Notice that
עשית.
if there's a third hey, a third yod, then instead of saying ve'asita, it's ve'asita.
Yeah, I got you.
Third hey and also I think third aleph uh, break the
Yeah,
rule of the moved accent.
yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, what is shamor?
It is a infinitive absolute functioning as an imperative here.
Ooh. Hmm. I wonder if it's dangling on the next phrase, like the actual command is there. Keeping the
Like,
Sabbath day by making it holy, as the Lord your God commanded you, you shall work 6 days. No, I don't like it. Yeah, read it as an imperative. It's
mhm,
infinitive absolute, but it needs to be read as imperative.
yeah, it'd be interesting. I like that thought though, but I like
It could be that because infinitive absolute is very wiggly.
yeah,
What would be the imperative?
shmore.
Shmol. Shmol
Hmm.
would be imperative. Shamol is infinitive absolute.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So
What's
we'll
the
just
difference between this and the Exodus chapter 20? This one says shamol, and Exodus 20 uses a different verb.
to use zakor.
Zachor.
Yeah, zachor. Sorry. Yeah.
Also infinitive absolute. Remember the seventh day to keep it holy.
Yeah. Okay. So shamor et you. Okay. So keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, to make it holy, um, as the Lord your God has commanded you. 6 days you will do, you will work. Sorry, 6 days you will work. You
Let's
shall,
take it
sorry,
labor. 6 days
yeah,
will you labor, do
and
all.
do all your work, all your tasks.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Ve Yom HaShvi'i or Hayom HaShvi'i, the seventh day, Shabbat LaAdonai, is the Lord's Sabbath, Adonai Elohecha. Sabbath of the Lord your God. Lo ta'aseh chol melacha. Melacha is the same word as melachtecha. Chol melacha, ata uvincha uvitecha, ve'avdecha ve'amatecha, ve'shocha ve'chamocha, וכל בהמתך וגרך אשר בשעריך, למען ינוח עבדך ואמתך כמוך. That's a big long verse. It's got a lot of vocabulary words for people who don't have the words,
A
but
lot of ch, a lot of ch
let's
in there.
let's go through it because verse 15 is more interesting. Between remember we've got the two versions of the Ten
Hmm.
Commandments, Exodus
Yeah.
20 and Deuteronomy 5, and each of them is giving a different rationale for the Shabbat command.
Yep.
So this says you shall work for 6 days and then not work on the seventh day. The seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. You shall not do any work, you and your son and your daughter, and your slave and your maidservant, and your ox and your donkey, and any of your beasts of burden, and your foreigner, the stranger, who is in your gates, who's like in your city, in order that might rest your slave. Why do we have the sixth commandment, the Sabbath? In order that your slave and your female slave might rest like you. So the justification for having the 6 days of work and the seventh day of rest is so that everyone gets the opportunity to rest. That's the justification. And verse 15 brings that out. There is no reference in this passage in Deuteronomy 20 to the creation of 6 days and then the seventh day being the Sabbath. Instead, the rationale for the Sabbath law is that everyone, whether free or slave or even the beast, will have a day to regain their energy, to rest. And the rationale for it comes from the fact that you were slaves in Egypt, and so you should know what it's like to be treated badly, and you should appreciate and allow other people to rest. So this is the rationale in verse 15.
Mhm. All right. Ready?
Mhm.
All right. וזכרת כי עבד היית.
This one is stressed. Mhm.
Sorry, I the post positive pre positive thing always messes me up. וזכרת כי עבד היית בארץ מצרים. ויוציאך אדוני אלוהיך משם. Sorry, I should have read all that together. ביד חזקה
חזקה.
חזקה ובזרוע נטויה. על כן ציווך נטויה, על כן ציווך אדוני אלוהיך לעשות את יום השבת.
Yes, you see that lachen or alken. Alken means therefore. It's on this reason. For this reason, God commanded you to perform the Sabbath day. Okay, so what is it? The whole thing? וזכרת עבד היית בארץ מצרים.
Yeah, and you shall. Yeah, hold on. What's the proper way for that transition to happen?
You shall remember.
It is okay. I just wanted to make sure. All right, so you shall remember that you were a servant in the land of Egypt.
No, let's not soften that up. You were a
You were
slave.
slave. Sorry, it's just and the Lord your God brought you out from there,
Mhm.
in that with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore, the Lord your God has commanded you to keep the Sabbath
To
day.
perform. To perform it.
To do, yeah, to
So
do yeah.
So God commanded Israel to do the Sabbath because they had come out of slavery and they needed to remember how to treat people, to let everyone have the opportunity to rest. So in this chapter, there is no mention of you need to keep the Sabbath because Sheshet Yamim Asa Adonai et Hashamayim. In 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth and everything that's in them. So the Exodus 20 says the rationale for the Sabbath commandment is to remember the creation of the world in 6 days. Deuteronomy chapter 20 says the rationale for keeping the Sabbath is to remember that you were slaves and you should treat people equitably. That's what it comes to. All right? All right, so verse 16. Wow, we've got a lot to go, huh? We are past the half hour and you're muted and talking.
Look at that, I was
talking
muted. Look at that. And you can't see me at all, can you? Sorry. Yeah, I was thinking about that. We're over an hour in, we ain't halfway.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's see how many verses there are.
There's
Wow, there's a lot
33.
more.
There's 33, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think we'll make it all the way through. We'll go ahead and find a stopping point. Let's get past
Let's get through the
father,
commandments,
father,
maybe?
mother. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 16. כבד את אביך ואת אמך, כאשר ציווך אדוני אלוהיך, למען, tells you why, למען יאריכון ימיך, ולמען ייטב לך על האדמה, אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך. אוקיי. כבד את אביך ואת אמך, כבד is heavy, kabed is to make heavy, to give weight, to make important, to honor. Kavod is honor or respect or dignity. All of these words are the same. So honor or respect your father. Kabed et avicha, ve'et imecha, and your mother. Ka'asher tzivcha Adonai Elohecha, as the Lord your God has commanded you. Lema'an gives the purpose of this respect. Okay, in order, yarichun yamecha, in order that your days might become long or elongated, lengthened. This is a hifil, ya'arich, and the subject is yamim, yamecha. The hifil is often used whenever you have an adjective that goes into the hifil to mean become. So ya'arich means to become long. It doesn't mean necessarily to make something long. It means to become long, that your days might become long. Another example, I can say hishmanti. I hate bringing this up again, but hishmanti means I got fat. Means hishmanti. Shamen is fat, and hishmanti, I got fat. Hirzeti. Razeh is thin. Hirzeti, I became thin. Hirzeti is hifil. Another example. Lehasmik. Hismakti. Hismakti means I became. It's like being embarrassed when you turn red. You blushed. You blushed.
Mm.
You became like red on the cheeks.
Yeah.
There are a lot of these verbs where you take an adjective and you can turn it into a hifil verb that doesn't mean to make something that. It just means to become it. So that's what we have with yarech. Ulema'an itavlach, and so that it will go well with you, or it will be good for you. Al ha'adama, on the land. Asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach, which the Lord your God is giving you. So the reason you need to honor your mother and father is so that you will have a long life and you will have a good life on the land. That's why you need to honor your mother and father.
Mm-hmm. Good. All
Number
right.
17.
17. Lo tirtzach. You will not kill.
Is it kill?
Depends on what you think. Murder.
Murder.
Yeah.
Do no murder. Because killing is laharog, and it is there. It says even in the Kohelet that there is a time to kill.
Mm.
But not all killing is murder.
Yeah.
So lo tirtzach, retzach is murder. For those out there who like to scream, the word retzach am is genocide, murder of a people. Retzach am.
Mm.
Those out there who like to scream genocide, genocide. Retzach am. Lo tin'af. Lo tin'af. Normally, adultery is ni'uf, ni'uf,
Mm.
and tin'af is a kal verb that's built on that. You shall not commit adultery.
Mm-hmm.
Committing adultery means having an extramarital affair with the wife of another man. With the wife of another man. Adultery in biblical terms does not mean a married man having an affair with a woman who's not married. That is not adultery. That can be znut. It can be fornication or prostitution, but it is not adultery. Adultery is a property right violation. When a woman marries a man, according to biblical tradition, a woman marries a man, she's given to him, sold to him from her father. Her father has possession of her, and he sells her to a man for a dowry, and she becomes the property of her husband. She goes into his home. And then if anyone else touches her, because she is his property, If anyone else touches her in an inappropriate way, then he is violating the property rights of that man. And that's what adultery means in the Bible. Just so you're aware. This is a very sexist and filthy thing to promulgate. But that's the way that they did things back then. Yeah. Anyway, do you agree with that, Colton? Is that your understanding from the Bible as well? Is that I mean, that's true? And I
Uh,
don't know if for a lot of people, I
yeah.
don't think a lot of people will be
I mean,
willing
like,
to.
I've not done any particular study into the word, so I don't have anything to contradict it. But what you're saying is right. They are bought with a dowry, but like all that's true. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, not looked into the word specifically.
Well, a lot of it had to do with the idea that women were it was expected that women would not be able to survive without a male protector, and
Hmm.
so they went from the ownership or protection of their father into the ownership or protection of their husband,
Yeah,
who is called
I'm just
Hebrew
curious if like
Baal is master
yeah,
owner.
the question that I would be curious to look at is if off is used with any other kind of property as well.
Oh
Like
no,
that's
it's only women. It's
yeah.
only women's property.
So I don't know that I don't know. It seems like if that's the case, and it might be because you can infringe other property rights of the rights of other rights other there's other property that could be infringed upon, which we
Yeah,
see next. A couple lines
but we
down.
but we know that there are sexual sins in the Levitical code that automatically carry with them the death penalty.
Right.
And this would be one of them. It's not. This isn't. There are property damage laws that have to
Hmm.
do with reimbursement. If you damage someone's property, you need to reimburse them. And in Jewish tradition, these are called. This is dealt with in nizakim.
Hmm.
Nizakim is part of the Mishnah that deals with it. It means damages, and damages incur restitution. But
Yeah.
ni'uf does not. That the person who adulters a man's wife
Mhm.
is liable to death.
Right.
Like it's a major one. And I think a lot of this had to do with the idea of leaving offspring. If more than one man is sleeping with a woman, then you can't tell who the father is. Today you can, but you
Right.
couldn't.
They didn't
They
have
didn't
DNA
have
tests back
genetic
then,
testing.
believe it or else. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it was a major problem not knowing who the father was of a child.
Yeah.
Um, but it was not a problem for a man for men, for a man to sleep with many women, because if it's one man sleeping with many women, then it would be known still who the father was if each woman was being faithful only
Yeah.
to him.
I
So
what do you know offhand what the word is for the I can't even think of the word now. The act of the brother providing like seed for his brother
they
after
call
he
it
dies.
levirate marriage.
Yeah,
Levirate.
yeah. But you know the Hebrew word for it. There's a specific word that they use. Um,
Huh.
uh,
Oh yes, yes, yes. Live on.
okay.
It has a bet ein and a mem in it,
Okay. All
but
right.
I
Never
can't
mind
remember
then.
what.
I was just curious if it'd be interesting to see if it was like related in some way. It was just a thought
I can't, I
exercise.
can't, I can't imagine why it's not in my head.
Yeah,
But it's
it's
also
hard.
one of the divisions of the Mishnah. I think is also.
Okay, got you. All right, no worries.
Anyway, verse 19.
Velotignov.
Yeah,
You will not steal.
when I was 19, I started learning Hebrew when I was 19 years old, and when I was 20, I had already finished first year Hebrew, and I decided that I was going to memorize the Ten Commandments in Hebrew. I learned the ones from Exodus, not from Deuteronomy. So I got the Sheshet Yamim,
Mm-hmm.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וכל אשר בה,
Mm.
and all that. But I went one time with my sister to the grocery store. And I don't want to tell on her, but still. And she stuck something in her pocket at some point because, she was young. And my immediate response was to say to her, Lo tignov. Lo
So
tignov, because I had the Hebrew on my mind.
yeah,
It says,
low
do not
technology.
steal. No, lo tignov is still what you would say because it's not
Yeah, it's
aimed
a
directly at the
right. I know.
situation.
All technology or
Al tignevi.
oh, how do you say that?
Al tignevi. Al tignevi.
Oh
That's
yeah,
right.
because it's you don't it's a
Mhm.
negative uses
Yeah.
the Irialis. Yep, my bad.
אל תגנבי את זה,
Yeah,
החזירי את זה למדף.
yeah,
החזירי את זה למדף. Return it to the shelf.
yeah.
So verse 20 says, ולא תענה ורעך עד שווא. I think Exodus says עד שקר, like a lying witness.
Oh yeah.
ולא תענה ורעך עד שווא. You shall not answer against your neighbor a false testimony, a false witness, or a
Mm,
vain witness. What it means is somebody asked you, did he do this? And you answer against him in a lie.
hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
21.
All right. ולא תחמוד אשת רעך, ולא תתאווה בית רעך, שדהו ועבדו ואמתו, שורו וחמורו, וכל אשר לרעך. Okay. You shall not, this is typically your covet, right? You shall not covet the wife of your fellow, right? Wife of your neighbor. Um, you will not desire the house of your neighbor, his field, his servant, his slave, sorry, his female slave, his ox, his donkey, or anything which is his, which is your neighbor's. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Lo tahmod, you shall not covet. That's easy to remember. Lo tahmod. And the word hamud means sweet or nice. Nechmad, a nice person, ben adam nechmad. And
Mm-hmm.
Hamud is cute. Also, he's a cute thing, Hamud. Like a baby is Hamud. Lo tahmud, you shall not think that you want to take it, right?
Yeah.
Um, Lit avot. Lit avot is related to the word ta'ava. Ta'ava is a desire.
Mm-hmm.
Ta'ava, maybe a lust. Good. Let's finish just by the last line
Yeah.
down to here where he says, את הדברים האלה דיבר אדוני אל כל קהלכם בהר מתוך האש. Okay, and then the ash and everything else. Okay. So, and these words, הדברים האלה, דיבר אדוני, the Lord spoke, אל כל קהלכם, to all of your assembly on the mountain. Okay, where did God speak? He spoke from the midst of the fire, the cloud, and the arafel, the thick smoke, the thick darkness. Kol gadol, okay, a loud voice. Velo yasaf, and he didn't add to it, like this was all that it was.
Mm-hmm.
Vayich tevem, and he wrote them, that is these words, these things. He wrote them, al shnei luchot avanim, on 2 tablets of stones. Vayitnem elai, and he gave them to me. All right. So these are the 10 Commandments. That's as far as we're going to go because there actually goes down, like we said, to verse 33. That's a lot of reading.
Yep. It's 2/3
Can
of
you
it though.
Yeah,
Y'all
we
can
did
do
a lot.
yeah, you can do the last third of it. Be all right.
Yeah. How many times have you read the 10 Commandments in Hebrew?
How many times? if I count both Exodus and Deuteronomy, I don't know, probably up there, like 10, 15, like a good amount, like
Mm.
you know.
Have you ever considered memorizing?
Um, have I considered it? Yes. Have I done it? No. Have I actually taken actionable steps? Absolutely not. But uh,
Absolutely not. All right.
yeah,
Well, it might be something you could consider taking
yeah,
upon yourself sometime.
yeah. I did memorize
Wonderful.
in my first semester of Hebrew. We were asked to memorize one of three passages, either the Shema, Psalm 23, or
Hmm.
the I can never remember the my father was a wandering Aramean uh,
Hmm. I
section.
don't remember the title.
Yeah, we did that, and I think each one was about the same length. So I did six. I did the Shema Yisrael, like through the Vehavta, like 6 verses
All the
down
way
through the.
through.
Yeah, so like I have since forgotten everything past Me'odecha, but I've got at least the first two still in my brain. Um,
Yeah.
and so I did memorize. I mean, that's the first. I didn't understand anything I was memorizing at the time because I was only a first semester, but
Hmm.
I did learn it. Um, and then when I got
This
to
stuff likes to sit on me.
we we love cat. Uh,
Yeah, she's crazy.
we and then in my master's program we sung a bunch of stuff. So we sung the Shema, of course, the um, Ashira from Prince of Egypt. We did the um, oh the how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. That
הנה מה
song.
טובו בנאים שבת אחים גם.
Yeah, that. Thank
I
you.
have
I could
no
not
idea what
think.
she's doing. I don't know why she's climbed up on my shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, and he had a bunch that we sang. So he named it
But apparently that's comfort for her. I don't know why.
yeah. Shema Yisrael Adonai
All right. Well,
Elohim.
I think that's the end of the lesson. She's taking over my existence.
And that's what cats do. They still got the Egyptian complex. They still got that god complex from when the Egyptians worshipped them. It's the
Karen says that he will try to memorize the Ten Commandments in Hebrew. He said that we were reading super fast. I apologize for that. I thought we tried to take it pretty slow.
yeah, we were trying pretty slow. I was trying to
Yeah.
be slow. Yeah,
And Michael said thanks for another great lesson. So with
yeah.
that, we are going to call it quits for the night.
Reckon so.
Appreciate you guys very much for being here. And toda rabba. We'll see you next week on Monday.
תודה רבה, להתראות.
Bye bye.